guys have anything that you see on here that you're questioning or any questions about the premises, this would be the time that I could go back and ask those bar owners those questions and we could get those taken care of. I don't have the background yet from the Nicolay Properties one yet. We just got this one in, so Eric's probably still working on that one. So we should have that prior to the next board meeting. Any questions on any of them? I mean, most of them are repeats except for this Wayne. And Wayne's is in there. He won't renew, but at the time we didn't know, so he was already published. But he will get a refund for his liquor license minus the publication fee. He won't get the publication fee back. He'll get the money that he paid for the licensing back since he won't actually get the license.
Make a motion to approve liquor license application renewals.
Second it.
Recommendations were made that Kelly set the court on the 2023-2024 liquor license application renewal. Any discussion? Please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Discussion and possible recommendation on 2022 CMAR compliance amendments and the report.
What this is a report that we have to file yearly with the DNR. June, July, it has to be approved by a board resolution. It asks a series of questions. When was last time we updated our ordinance? Money on hand, amount of kilowatts used, terms for essentially what it cost us to run our 3 lift stations. What projects we have coming up, and it lists out everything, and then the system gives us a grade. So currently we have a grade of an A. It also explains what we do as an organization to help inform not only the public, but to make sure that we have a response, a CMOM, a response emergency management documentation on hand. As you remember, there is one thing I'd like to point out. Item number 4 on the compliance annual maintenance report, where it lists the SSO, sanitary sewer overflows. That was the force main that we had break in October of last year, so that has to be reported. The rest of the report goes over the amount of rainfall we have per year, our amount of flow on a monthly basis, what our average is of pumping to the Wolf River treatment plant, our maintenance plan, which we do root cutting and televising 5% each year. So we go through the village 100% in 20 years. And that also spits out a grade, and our grade is an A. Is there any questions about the report?
Well, my dad never questioned when I got me.
Right, and there'd be a response. We have the SSO that we had in October on file. I'll also have to, annotate the things that we did to reduce that possibility of that happening again. But this report has to be submitted with a resolution.
So Jesse, on number 4, should it be yes? Oh no.
Where?
Yeah, okay, during the next 10 years, okay, never mind.
There's 2 number 4s. I guess I should have. Planning future in the next 10 years.
Okay, never mind. So
That's just projects that we have.
Okay.
We're going to have to look at some other things probably this year, and then next year will be an extensive list, such as replacement of the SCADA system at the pumping station and things of that nature. So that'll be something coming down the road.
This got it.
There's 2 4s.
Yeah,
I
one was
should
your
have explained
siphon
that.
system and one was the,
Right.
the
Collection system.
Got it.
I'll make a motion to recommend to the board the 2022 CMAR compliance maintenance annual report.
I'll second it.
recommendation has been made by Court, second by Zuliger, on the 2022 CMAR compliance maintenance handbook. Is there any discussion? Anyone favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Discussion and possible recommendation on the Celebrate Bonneville fireworks permit application.
Yeah. Yeah, I did approve the fireworks permit. Everything's been the same since previous years. So I haven't seen any issues. So,
The only thing we'd be needing is the insurance.
yeah. Other than that, yeah, everything, everything looked good with it, so.
Is Chris Game and Scott Conrad lighting them off again this year?
Yes, from my understanding, that's the case.
I'll make a motion to move it to the village board meeting, Celebrate Bonneville fireworks permit application.
The recommendation made by Kelly, second by Stashik. On the Celebrate Bonneville fireworks permit application. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Discussion and possible recommendation on the village election day response plan.
In there, you'll see the election day response plan. The county has asked us to update our plan for state requirements. They've added this pre-election day emergency procedure with the cyber security incident, poll worker shortage, and changing polling places before election day. That's all new stuff. We had updated this back in 2019 in order to get some grant funds. So ours was pretty much up to date already. And then we needed to update some of the information in the back. So we updated the deputy clerk, our new municipal attorney information, and then the state contacts. So we just need to recommend this to board to be updated, and then I need to get a copy of it to the county for their records.
I'll make a motion to recommend to the board this village election day response plan.
I'll second it.
Recommendation has been made by Stashik, second by Zuliger. On the village election day response plan. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Discussion and possible action on squad car.
The Crown Victoria, as you are aware, the air conditioner went out in it. Chief, he's dating myself. Chief sent out a thing trying to get parts for it, and they could not. They then scoured the secondary market. They were able to get a secondary unit for us, so the air conditioner started working again. In the meantime, the squad was being driven with the windows down by the officers. The window shorted out. So we then had to take it in and have the windows fixed. When they fixed the windows, they must have crimped the wire in there because then the door locks broke. So the squad has been down quite a bit. So the windows are working, the air conditioner is working, and the door locks work again. What I'm struggling with is because we're starting to come into this middle point of the year here, is we had a squad that's on order from EWAL that we don't have the funding for. I applied for a grant and we are still in the running for the grant. The grant that I applied for covers for $44,000 is the amount of the grant. So that plus the money we have set aside would be enough to secure the new car. In speaking with people that are at these training conferences and speaking with other police chiefs, Ford is struggling again this year with production of the Explorers like they did the years past where our car was 1.5 years late coming in. They're struggling with that again. So Ford has been doing one of two things, either one, offering to order you a car for the following year, at the same price that we're locked into this year, okay? Or option two, Ford says, yep, no, we're just not doing the order, and they cancel it outright. Or option three is they could come through and somehow our car gets made. We ordered it on the last day, on the last day of the deadline, an hour before the deadline is when our order went in. So we're on the tail end for the production thing. As of right now, the car is still scheduled for production. They haven't given me a thing saying it's been canceled. They want to reschedule, they want to but if we cancel our order outright right now, and we would get that $44,000 grant, because the grant was for that car, we would have to back away from the grant and say, no, we're not, we can't take it because we're not doing that car.
I guess I'm confused because I thought the car was already canceled.
It is not canceled.
I thought that we only approved 20,000 for the budget and.
Correct, but we have a grant that we're in for right now, and if we cancel the car,
But there was no guarantee on getting the grant, correct?
correct, yep.
So I guess,
So what,
why did we order it if we were 100% sure?
Just for the repercussions if you don't.
right, if you don't take the, if we don't get the grant,
We,
the car comes in,
we can still cancel the car right now today, no problem. My problem is that we are so far along in this grant process, every time we make a cut, we're looking better to get this grant, okay? We're 3 cuts into this grant already, and we're still in the running for this car. So I hate to walk away from $44,000 and say,
I get that.
you know,
I was just wondering if there are any repercussions that happen, say, you don't get.
if I find out today we don't get the grant and you want the car canceled, it's an email and it's done.
Okay.
The problem I have is we're coming up to this middle point of the year where I think the car would probably come in November, December is where I'm thinking it would come in. But if something happens on Ford's end where it comes in early, I can't cancel. So this is where I'm struggling because I hate to walk away from $44,000 of possible free money.
so say we get the grant, we get
Yep.
the squad car, we're selling 2 squads then.
We can.
Because you don't have the space for 4 squads,
No. The Crown Vic would be gone. That would be
but we
immediate.
don't have the space for 3 squads. We have space for 2 squads.
Well, we've been parking it in the DPW up until when their garage door broke. When their garage door broke, we had to park it outside.
But, I mean, let's throw our cold storage out. We don't have that availability. We only have a space for 2 squads.
The only other thing we've had, and I didn't talk to Kevin about this, but we've been parking it in where the fire department meeting room is too. There's a bay there that we could utilize if we had to. But that would have to come through them.
Right.
Okay.
I just don't think we should be putting it everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, if we get this grant, we get the squad car, then we really need to consider selling 2 squads because you have 2 bays in the police department for your squad.
Okay.
Right?
Correct.
Okay.
But again, the problem I have with not having that spare is if a car goes down, if we hit a deer, it gets totaled out in a tree branch fall, something happens or the inside gets kicked out, which has happened.
Right.
We are now down to 1 car, and that's not a great way to run, especially when you have things that come up where you need more than 1 car.
Well, the question I have is, when this got ordered the first time, and we decided we didn't have it in the budget, we thought for sure that it was supposed to have been canceled at that time, because we had no funding for it.
Correct, and then this grant came in that we had to fight for.
But that being said,
That grant was just applied for what, a month ago, 2 months ago?
February, we applied for.
Yeah,
But
so-
that was supposed to be canceled last budget.
yeah, so it should have been canceled.
If you want the car canceled, I will certainly do that.
But the thing is you ordered that car without approval from this board.
The
Did you not?
car was ordered with approval from public safety, yes.
I told
Okay,
him,
but this board should have been approving a $40-some thousand order.
correct.
Correct, and that's why I'm bringing this up to
I
you.
know, but the
Because,
problem is that car was ordered. What if that car would came in right now and we have no funding for it? You ordered something above your means. I can't go order $40,000 worth of something without board approval.
And I know
I'm
we
just
dis-
saying, you can't order something
I
without
know we
board approval.
discussed it at budget time.
correct.
And then
And we
that's
had-
when we
and
put
this-
money aside,
Well,
but
we
that was
had
it.
to order it was before budget time, because the
Correct.
deadline came up, I think it was July or August or something. It was before budget time.
Right.
So we had ordered it, then we had talked about canceling it, and this grant came up that we had applied for, and like I said, we're still in it. So we're still not out
I
any,
don't remember
Fact.
approving it on public safety.
The fact is though, that even with this grant, this car should not be on order because
It was
It's money that
Never
was
went
never
to board
approved for by the board.
And that's why I'm asking, do you want me to cancel this and walk away from the grant? That, I don't have an issue with that, but I'm asking for what you want me to do. Because I'm afraid we're gonna get caught up in the switches here. I don't know how quickly this grant is gonna move. Like I said, I know we're in the third stage already, and I don't know if it's five, I don't know how many stages there are.
I think it's absolutely canceled.
If the car shows up tomorrow,
What do we do? Where
Uh,
are we gonna put it?
can we say no?
Yes.
You have my question.
Yeah, and we can cancel it, like I said, right up until delivery date, that's fine. But I'm rolling the dice on if they're gonna offer us a car for next year at the same price, and we don't have to pay that extra that they're adding on for next year's model. Or if we get this, there's so many
But
different.
there's no guarantee that we can afford a car next year.
Correct.
I
And
mean-
we were certain we couldn't afford a car this year,
For twenty
and
twenty.
why we should have shut it down when we finalized the budget in November. And then the grant didn't come around until February, so 4 months had passed in between that time, and it's still,
We got denied for a different grant in the middle of those.
well, neither here nor there. We didn't get approval for it as of, by the whole board, one. And two, we said we didn't have it, so we weren't going to get it anyway, so it should have been canceled at that time.
Okay, so I will go ahead and, the car will be canceled. And I'll also, we're gonna walk away from the grant, just so everyone's on the same page, because I had mentioned we had applied for the grant. And I want everyone to be on board with what's going on.
Yeah, you'd applied for the grant, but we hadn't gotten the grant. And
Correct.
again, it was 2 months, 2 to 4 months after we said we weren't supposed to be doing it anyway. Right?
Well, I guess I didn't know you guys, did you know that this car was on order when this grant was
I
applied?
had-
I had
I thought
no
it was
clue
over.
until
I mean, I knew you guys applied for the grant, but did you know that the car was on order in order to apply for the grant? I have no idea. Let you
I
guys
didn't.
know.
At budget time, we discussed the car, and then that time it got nixed. We weren't supposed to have it.
Okay, because I mean, I know that it was in the report that the grant was applied for, but did you guys know that a car had to be on order for the grant to be applied for? That's what I'm asking you
No.
guys.
I didn't know
Okay.
that.
No, I did not.
Okay, well, I will cancel the car, and then I'm gonna cancel the grant, just so we're all on the same page. Okay? And that's where I was looking to get clarification from you guys.
I mean, and if you guys don't want to do that, you guys gotta approve a car, and that needs to come to a board. And that's not on this agenda, so you would have to approve a car before you would have to approve him with the order of this car. So you guys would have to agree to that car to keep it on order. So,
Or the other option is we can give it another 30 days, see where this grant ends up, and cancel it at that time. Or we can cancel it outright. I mean, like I said,
How come you can't apply for a grant before you order a car?
because the grant specifies what are you applying for this grant for. So in order to apply for it, I had to send them all the stuff. It's Ewald is the company we went through. They had to have all the specs, everything that was ordered with that car to come up with that total number of the grant. So when I applied for the grant, that I think is a 26-page, what was on order, all went over with that grant.
Well, I think at school, and maybe it's different for this, but like, we just went through applying for a grant for new security. And I don't think we have any of that stuff yet.
But, well, different grants have different requirements,
That's
so,
what I was just wondering.
yeah.
I guess I have a question. I guess with the squad car, we've always, I guess before I was on the board and stuff, Michelle can maybe help me if I don't know. But we always had only 2 squad cars.
Mhm.
So if the Crown Vic is like, I wouldn't say nickel and diamond us, and it's an old car, why don't we just get rid of it now?
Sure, and we had talked about that, but again,
We're supposed to do it.
with the ordering process, it takes about a year to a year and a half to get a new car. So if we would crash one up or something, we are now down to a single car to use in town.
But
So we kept the one as a spare to use at
But it's
events,
not being
at,
fair.
no, it's.
well, we're trying to run
used
mileage up on it to save mileage on the other cars.
but that's not what
But
it
that's
was.
not fair.
That was supposed to be just simply for those days when you have multiple officers during the holidays, like the corn roast and the 4th of July and this, that, and the other. It wasn't supposed to be a road vehicle, it was supposed to be a backup. That was from the get, when we said we were getting a new vehicle, that was going to be a backup, not day-to-day driver. And then the other question I have in regard to that is this grant supposedly $44,000 we're gonna get. What's the total price of the car?
It was the 67, whatever, that's up for all the lights and everything. We already have 20,000 set aside this year for the car. There was a $7,000 grant that's coming in from the state that can be applied to that, and we also got a restitution check for, it was under $2,000 for the damage that was done to our other car that went into the vehicle fund as well. So the total that's sitting in there right now is 28, 20, somewhere in there is what's set aside right now.
Okay, and then we also have the problem that it was never approved at all by the board as a whole, so that's so many factors with what we need to do. I don't know what's, first, we'd have to get it approved. Secondly, this grant would have to come through, which, for us to get it,
Yep.
and we'd still be, that's, again, $20,000 that we set aside, I get that, for the budget, which we don't have.
Is there a time frame?
For the grant, I don't know how quickly, because it's a corporation, how often they meet on it. Like I said, I know we're past the third stage already for the grant. I don't know if there's 5 stages, if there's 10, I don't know how many stages there are. I can tell you Shawano PD was successful in their application last year for the grant, so it's not uncommon for these areas to get it. But again,
My thought is if we get a new squad car, it's 2 are going up for sale. We only have room for 2. Because we can't,
There's-
I
I don't
mean,
know why
and
we
we're
need
apartment.
them.
We're apartment,
We're
we're
right now.
We are,
So do you have more than, besides any of the holidays and stuff, is there more than one officer on at a time that both cars are being used if one would get damaged?
yes,
Besides holidays?
yes.
Well, I guess
This last Friday, we had 2 officers on.
I'd like to know, my question is
Why?
why? Why is there 2 on, like on a Monday or a Tuesday, but then we'll go 4 days without an officer? And I understand it's part-time and people work when they can, which is understandable. But if 2 people say, well, I can work Thursday, and we put them on Thursday, well, there's 2 people when traffic in town really isn't that bad on a Thursday, or it's slower.
So what I do when there's 2 officers on, for instance, right now, we're chasing down dog licensing issues, okay? There's about 8 to 10 people in town with dog license issues going on. One officer out patrol while the other officer is chasing down the dog license things. And that way we have both patrol and dog licensing things taken care of. On Friday nights, where we've been getting an abundance of traffic complaints on 117, we've been putting 1 officer on the south side, 1 on the north side, and we've done that for 2 times now in the last 2 months. We've done that, where we have multiple officers working to try and curb the speeding before, with the holiday or the summer season coming. We're trying to slow people down.
You've been always trying to slow people down.
Yeah. And it never
It's trust me,
And
it's a never-ending process.
I mean,
Put the spare car someplace with a cardboard cutout in there.
you can't do that.
Now you get into trouble because if someone needs help and they stop you, you get in trouble for that.
And there's the wonderful world of Facebook.
yeah.
Check it out, Officer Penwise. Well,
Okay, what was this action one on? Was this just on the updates on the?
No, I'm looking, we're okay to cancel and walk away from the grant then, and I will
think
do
we
that
have to.
Absolutely.
immediately.
Right,
I think we
because
have
I
to
think
this year.
even the funds that we have, I don't think, to use those right now. I think we should do what our original budget was, and that was gonna be to save up for a car
Mhm.
when that was feasible to do so, and stick with that.
You have 2 vehicles that are.
We have 3 vehicles,
I mean,
Yeah.
the
That-
contact relation.
right, that should really be sold.
and the Crown Vic's got to go.
Yeah, I think the Crown Vic needs to go. If it's costing that much money and they can't find parts for it,
Well, they just found the part, so it's
so
up
it's
to
hard to
you.
find.
Well, it is, and Chief struggled to do it.
So if something happens again, then they find it, and then it's $300-400 more.
I would say we don't, next time it breaks, we don't fix it.
I think, they've got the parts to fix it
Right.
now while it's
I
running.
think you fix it now and you try to
Get rid of it
sell and
now.
do what you can out of it
Right.
and put it towards the new car eventually when it's in the budget.
We have to pay insurance on 3 vehicles anyway.
Well,
We
and
should
you're not,
only
we're
have
not gonna
two.
get a ton
No,
On
we're
that
not gonna
card
get
anyway.
anything out of it.
But we
But
don't,
1,500, 2,000 is better than
right.
nothing.
And that can go into the 20,000 that's set aside.
Is there communication, within the county of vehicles that Shawano County's gonna, or Shawano City's gonna upgrade? We got this vehicle, instead of it going to like Wisconsin auctioneers, that is,
The problem is when the county is done with a vehicle, they're pretty much used up as far as law enforcement purposes.
And it's just nickel pretty down.
And even, the county used to, and we used to be fortunate, we could borrow spare cars from them for like our festivals and stuff.
Yeah.
We even were able to borrow cars from the city of Shawano a few years. We went and borrowed cars from them. With the car shortages right now, we can't do that anymore. They're short vehicles just like everybody else is. So that's where it dried up for us.
Well, in my opinion, I think we need to cancel the car, cancel the grant, and then put the Crown, once it's back to running, up for sale to get it out of the way. We keep putting money into it, we keep running it, and it's supposed to be a backup anyway.
Is that a recommendation?
That's my
Is
recommendation
that your
to,
motion?
I'll make a motion to make the recommendation to cancel the car and the grant and put the Crown Vic up for sale as soon as possible.
I second it.
Recommendation has been made by Kelly, second by Court. Cancel the squad car, cancel the draft, grant, fix the ground story, and once it's fixed, it's up for sale. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Unfinished business. Discussion and possible recommendation on village website design.
Last one, or was it committee of the whole? I wasn't here for the board.
Yeah,
The last committee of the whole, you asked, ability to put something together. And here it is. I guess, I mean, I'm not looking at all these menus to work, because I know that this is probably just a shell to show the work that he can do to it. He does have tabs down here, slider option, things of that nature.
Is that just a sample or can they vote on?
This is just a sample that was sent to us, so this is not a live webpage.
Some of the.
Some of the stuff
links
works,
do
some of
work.
it
Yeah, some of the links work, some of the links probably don't work. I don't know, I'm just randomly click that one. I don't think we want to look at if the links work. This is just an example of work that he's doing.
It's not on yet.
This isn't a live webpage, this isn't something.
It worked.
Okay, yeah, it works, but what I'm saying is, we're not judging, on the fact that it works or not. What I would like to point out is a couple things, like this does have the scrolling webpage, but it is just blocked information again. There is no calendar. Took the buttons from up top and made its own little things down here. Some things I would like to point out about linkability. This is their profile portfolio page, advertising our webpage. This page, well, no, I can't do that. We've had some internet issues today. Put that in. All right, pretty sure that internet is down there. What I'm getting at is that this page is being ran by a church group. This page is being run by Town Web. This page, and I can't show it, and I don't want to. But what I'm getting at is that this page is that he did for us. We provided input. Creative or lack thereof of creative initiative is what I guess was the big thing about that, along with the 501c3 and people saying our webpage is outdated. We gave the opportunity, I'll say 8, 9, 10, a year ago, to try to update our website, and we got the same thing. We gave some examples that had these bubbles that, you know, we wanted incorporated, but so then that was put up there and everything else was still the same. We asked for a calendar at that time rather than just this. And at that time, we were told it couldn't be done. That I can't remember the verbiage. It was either too expensive or it couldn't be done. It was something specifically we asked for. And we asked for, you know, creative input on this, and we got the same thing back with different color and some bubbles. Now, I agree, we did ask for these. This is the other web page. I can't pull up Townweb because of the web ain't like that. But this also has some creative bubbles of things about it. It has a calendar, events with icons. And again, I'm not judging on whether things work correctly, but on appearance and usability. Townweb and Civic Plus agree. They are the Taj Mahal of web pages. But we can't afford the Taj Mahal. So, still ain't working. So I guess what I'm saying is that the creative differences or the difference of the web pages that are even put out by Linkability are essentially the same with the siding and the words. This web page I've been trying to go to, doesn't work. This web page just is a picture of a tractor, nothing to click on. Our old web page is being advertised, and all these other pages essentially have the same layout. And this one's ran by Townweb, and this one's ran by a church group, so he's even advertising for its competitors. And I just, for somebody that said it was their passion and don't update their own web page, makes me wonder.
He's a member of that church. So he's going to have it on there. He just,
Advertising for church group and Townweb on your website, and having other ones that don't portray anything and other ones that have broken links to it. I'm not saying this is a broken link, and all these other ones are the same, and that's what I think I would like to get away from, of just having one thing on the side and then a scrolling Word document to get to the bottom. Questions?
did you go try it?
I did.
On your phones too? Did they work? How did it work?
I guess same thing Jesse was looking at. I'm not looking to see if the links work. I was just looking at appearance of it,
Legibility.
or being able to access things where they are if I'm looking for something on it. I do agree with Jesse on the scrolling all the way to the bottom. I would rather like to see things that I don't have to read a ton of stuff to be able to go into a website. For me, I like to find things quick and easy. And if I'm looking for something on the internet, obviously I'm looking for, easy access to it. So I agree with Jesse on that part. I don't like to have to read paragraphs on paragraphs to figure out where I need to maneuver in a website.
I can't show anything else on the internet's down. Nothing will pull up here. Even if I go
I don't know what anybody else thought. But that was my personal opinion.
And I went on there, but like, I'm not a web design person, so
But you're a user.
I'm a user, yeah. And when I
So
went
if
to go look, like on our current website, when the rummage sale was, like you can't find,
Right.
like there's no calendar on there to look to see when the village wide one was.
That's what I like to be able to see, like most recent events. Or I don't like to read a ton of stuff. If I wanted to go in and read it, then that should be like the inner part of it. But I felt like the homepage should be something where it's quick, easy access. You know, the numbers to the village hall, you know, the telephone numbers to DPW or the office here. Like I want to see those right away. I want to see that happen. I want to see what that calendar looks like, where we can find out where a meeting is or upcoming things in the village. I guess that's what I looked at a website. And that's, I mean, any website. Quick, easy access to things.
I don't think you could make that dummy one live because the other one's still accessible.
Right.
You know,
Right.
you have to
And
put
that's
another
why I said you can't-
subscription thing.
Right,
You can't look at the content behind the links
No, it's
because
it's
it's,
the features on the homepage of it is what you should look at.
I guess what I'm looking at is usability and, human factors. I mean, scrolling down, a user-friendly type thing. And the thing is that we asked them for a redesign and we gave them some direction, but I feel like it didn't go anywhere and we still have the same webpage. And that it seems antiquated and outdated. And just like some of the other ones, he has web pages where you have something on the side, either left or the right, and the rest of it is scrolled down. And I'm not saying that's not bad, but that's not what I don't think we want for our webpage. And to update it, to give it a new look, to redesign
I
it.
guess I feel it's kind of the same, except just different parts are in different areas and
And he sent, you all got the analytics on the webpage and stuff like that. I don't know. It's information. I don't know what we do with that. I don't know. I mean, there's really nothing to compare it to say we would have more or less traffic. It does show that there is traffic and it does increase, but I think that also increases with the number of users out there from the inception or from when data was collected in 2016, something like that. Yep.
16 was from the beginning. Price wise, well, like we said, Town Web is pretty much catalog.
Town Web
We
and
can't, afford Town Web.
Correct.
Civic Plus is more than that. And
So the other two are very comparable.
Mhm.
Pretty much right on. As far as-
each have the same 10 hours of maintenance. So
Yeah, and I don't think that's pretty close to what it is. I don't think there's a lot more.
again, it's not personal. I just think we need to go a different direction. That it served us well for the last 16 years, was it? But I think it's time to refresh it and revamp it.
So we need a motion or who we recommend to take to the board.
Are you gonna bring up the other examples?
What example?
It's just Town Web and then.
I tried to bring up Town Web and here's,
What's
I
the
did.
rank and design?
yeah, it's right here
That's that one.
with the calendar, the bubbles, and icons down here for the meetings. Subscription to the newsletter. Hours. I showed this one already. You probably didn't see it around the corner. But that's just, again, I told him not to do a lot of work on it because right now he's not getting paid for it. That's an example for it. That's in his designer.
And that's what Tim did too.
Right.
He didn't spend a lot of time because he wasn't.
Right.
Did Reagan Designs get to see the one he submitted, this newer one?
No. You talking about Tim's?
Yes.
No, he did not see it.
Rankin Designs had that done before Tim did his.
Yeah, this is what was shown to us on the board.
The what?
This is
This is the one that was shown. to
Shown
us.
before, yes. And like I said, I wish.
Because then we had the two to compare.
Yep. And I mean, I would like to pull up, we've seen some town web examples. We've seen some town web examples, we've seen some Civic Plus examples. When you pull up a town web page, there's no mistaking it. They have, again, lots of bells and whistles. They have a large resource pool. They have a large cost. And I would love to go to town web and it would all be in one spot and everything else. But yeah, that's not in our budget. And I think it is a little much for what we have. I know town of Richmond uses it. Go over some prices that the town of Richmond, I don't know if since they were in it from the inception, they got a price less than $1,000 to run their webpage.
It's like $650.
Yeah, $650, and they run through town web, and I still don't understand how they got it that cheap. They just raised their price. I want to say last year I was down there, inquired about that, so they raised it like $300 because they were paying $300 a year through town web, but town web came back to us at $4,200 a year. So
Does it go by how many people are in there?
no, what it goes by is your sub pages. So like we have a lot of sub pages. Like if you go to our webpage, like how all these tabs are different pages. So like that creates more work. Why is it working? So this is its own page, and that's why I said you can't go by the content because to make content for all them tabs, just as an example, is a lot of work. So, and that's why when Town Web came to us and said, $4,000, that's incorporating everything we have here. I don't know. Yeah, this one's good. So that's why the price is so much when you come to Town Web. Richmond has less, but it's not like they have zero.
I think most of theirs is like recycling, this, that, and the other. They don't have a whole lot of events or meeting wise.
Yeah, but and I'm not dogging them, and there's some things, but they have a newsletter, because I live in Richmond, that's why I went down there, because they have Town Web, and I sign up for their newsletter, and I get their newsletter, so that Town Web does all that for them, and that's why I was like, well, heck, what do they charge them? I went down there, and they just raised it to like $700 or something.
Somebody's
Candy,
got-
do you know
somebody
you've
in a
got
picture
your-
of it.
Flashlight out.
No.
I didn't know what you're trying to see over there.
Well, the sound wasn't working on live.
Oh,
I don't know, we've been having problems with unstable network and everything else.
Is
as
this
of late.
TDS?
Virtual,
Oh, there you go. That explains it.
it's the right price, $3.99.
$3.99?
Was there a newsletter on Tim's new one?
Yep,
Calendar?
there was no calendar.
Pretty sure it said it. See that?
Well, I don't see a
go
calendar.
back up.
Yeah.
Good, keep going up.
Keep going up,
Right where your cursor is.
keep going up.
I know he said he had it.
Right
It was
there.
button for donations.
Well, to me, this is a list of events, just like,
You want a numerical calendar? That's
So
what
this
you're
is-
looking for?
this is the same thing that we have over here, just listings rather than village board meeting. So that's what I'm looking for, that you have a calendar where you can click a date of highlight of things that are going on. And to me,
So
this,
click on that calendar once. See view calendar. No, down bottom. Go back. And this one. There, view calendar. Click that. See what comes up. List, month, day. Up on the top right.
why can't that be on the homepage then?
Well, it's probably Jim, but, you know, you got to tell them that you're looking for.
Well,
I mean, the whole thing is,
My opinion is I think we should have been here to help discuss this. I'm not holding anything personal or anything from you, but if you wanted to keep it, you probably should have been here discussing this with us. There's not opinion. I guess I'm sort of looking for a recommendation.
I'll make a recommendation to the board to bring to the board for rank and design.
I'll second that.
Recommendation has been made by Zuger, seconded by Court, on the village website design and ranking designs. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Discussion and possible recommendation on village personnel policy updates.
I sent another email to Bill today, asking him what the status was on it. Told him he's had it since August. If he has an anticipated date that he might have me something, and I haven't heard anything. So I did talk to Ashley today on the phone, and I told her that if I don't hear from him, I'm probably gonna send her what we have. I'm kind of annoyed because I know we've spent money on this already with him since August 8th of last year. You know, I'd like to say, Bill, can I have our money back? Because I know he's reviewed it, he's charged us monthly for whatever he's done, but I haven't seen even a draft of whatever he's done. So, I told her I was gonna follow up with him again, but like I said, every time I call him, email him, anything, I haven't
Can you
heard
just give it to Ashley?
Huh?
Can actually take them to court.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So I will try to call him tomorrow, but I did email him saying, hey, where's this at? So otherwise, she said I might be starting over. I don't know. But it just kind of annoys me.
But
So,
that policy
We have the
update is
draft
basically the
anyway,
same thing we had, we just had to change a few.
well, it was after a lot of things that happened last summer with personnel in the office, personnel in the different departments. We had updated several things and had redlined a lot of things that we wanted him to look at to make sure that they were legally updated the right way and that the wording looked right. So we had kind of through admin put in what we wanted changed, but wanted him to look at it to make sure it was legal. And make sure everything looked right, and if we saw anything else that maybe we didn't have right in our policy book. But I've never seen anything come back, and he keeps telling me it's being worked on, it's being worked on. One point he thought he sent it to me, and that was about January, and I'm like, I sent that to you back in September, and I'm like, no, you didn't. So, I don't really know.
I think we just ripped the bandage off and then just
Yeah.
send it to Ashley and then just.
Right, so she said, well, I could send you something to start with, and I said, I really don't wanna go there yet. Let me check with Bill one more time. And I said, if not, then I guess we're back to the drawing board. So it's just kind of a pain in the butt. But- So just so you know where it's at.
Can't we just send her what we did?
Yeah, and that's what I figure, but like I said, I'm giving Bill one last, like I said, I kind of just feel like he's fallen off the face of the earth and they just keep covering for him over there, so. Just kinda-
It's like, we had one teacher that didn't get renewed when I was in school.
Yeah.
And for the last month, we watched a lot of movies.
Yeah.
We all
so-
got an A.
So either next month, we're gonna have something, or we're going to be looking at what we currently had, and I'll have sent it over to Ashley, so. That's where we're at.
Did it be?
So no action at this time.
No action if, well, by consensus, move it again?
Yep,
Consensus.
sounds good.
Okay. Okay, so by consensus, we're gonna move it
Move it to
to,
the next
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, Tammy would like 2 minutes
Um,
before we close that.
in regards to your comments of Kim not being here, the Jesse's kid wanted a job. Why isn't he here? Another thing I wanted to talk about was that sign. Is there a reason that wasn't up higher than what it is, that it's so low to the ground?
We like things loaded. I mean, I put it low to the ground, you're gonna want it higher. I put it higher, somebody's gonna want it lower. The plan commission made a decision on putting up a sign, a monument type sign. A monument type sign is on the ground. So, I mean, everybody can troubleshoot it and people say that, well, nobody looks at it right. Well, how did you see the sign if nobody looks at it right? I think it's a good sign.
Oh, I think the sign was.
It turned out well. We try to incorporate manufacturing in the village. They told us to seek elsewhere. So we've tried to do the right thing. We've kept it in the right of way. Kept it off the street far enough so that way everything was copacetic with permitting. I mean,
All right, if you like this.
we could have put it up higher. We could have gone with a different design. We could have
I
done
think the size is good.
Yeah.
different things. But I mean,
It's a cost-effective move, I think. We got the perfect sign that we needed. It's in the perfect spot. And for what we paid for it, it's well worth it. Unfortunately, due to the state recommendations, having it so far back with the center line and everything like that right away, you have no choice. So, and I believe it'll be around for a long time. It's a lot better than some of the raggedy signs that we've had in the past.
What about snow plowing?
oh,
Is it gonna,
well, we've addressed that. So what we're doing is we're putting landscaping around it with bricking and rocks of some sort. Not exactly sure what exactly yet. We'll eliminate grass hitting it, snow plowing. We control our snow plowing. So I've had a lengthy discussion when we plow snow that we're not going to pile snow up there. The county doesn't come down that road, doesn't spray salt on there. So we don't have to worry about salt hitting it. And we control the plows down there. So it is a concern, but I think we've eliminated that concern with plowing instructions and everybody knowing that if anything happens to that sign due to village workers' negligence, it would be repercussions. So I would like to have more of them. I'd like to have a digital message board out there, but the cost and everything that we're working under, I think we did the best thing we would add for what we got, and I think it looks good. And I wish it was bigger. I wish it was higher. I wish we had more land up. That land was ours, so we could put it further off the right of way. But it is what it is. And to replace the paneling sign that's at Business Park with my phone number underneath it, that's been out there that I guarantee 99% of people never saw.
I was gonna say, I don't even recall that sign.
It was up there. I think it was a pretty good win for the village.
so how much would it have cost to have it higher? You said you would have liked it higher.
I didn't even price it. I mean, everybody would like something bigger, shinier, newer, but the whole point was a monument sign. That was the point of it, a monument sign to be on the ground. So we never costed something that would be higher because I think we wanted to do a monument sign and the plan commission wanted to do a monument sign to give some businesses chance to advertise, and that would meet the need of us going right there.
How much does that cost, by the way?
What's that? The sign?
Advertising.
$50 a year. You pay for the vinyl logo that's on there. So like BRK paid for the design with Stratford sign. They put it on there at their cost. We charge them $50 a year, renewed yearly, and we'll reevaluate after a year to see, because the intent is to at least cover our cost for electricity. We're a government entity, we're not for profit, but we can't get losing money out of it either. So.
And Worldwide, they wanna bid on it or what?
Worldwide is not a company that builds the signs like that. They're a distribution company
They're a wholesaler.
or a wholesale company.
They don't have a design team.
No, they don't do any of that.
Sales. So our first stop was with Worldwide Signs. And we said, hey, we'd love to do a sign with Worldwide Sign. You've been in the village from Tishler Plastic back in the 80s, 70s, whenever it was first incorporated. They responded back that we should contact Fox City Signs and Krieger Electric because they do not have a sign team and they are wholesaling. So they have many companies they work with that provide all that stuff for them. And at that point in time, we went and got quotes from Fox City Signs and everybody else. We laid out the designs. We picked the design the plan commission liked the best, got approval from the board, and that's what we wanted. We would have loved to work with Worldwide, but they didn't want to work with us. And I went down there and asked them specifically, and
Well, this would have been more channels to get everything to the design team and then, well,
and plus they told us that they don't install. So not only would I have to design it, lay it out, and then they build it, and then I would have had to figure out how to put it in. Where this was they did it all for us. And Jones Sign would have done the same, and Jones Sign would have been more, but we didn't look at pricing. We looked at what did we want. And then, because things can be negotiated, you know, I only want 5 spots rather than 10 spots. I don't want it 30 feet wide. I want it 10 feet wide. So it was about design and concept that we liked, and they came up with the best idea out of everybody we went with.
so the monument design, the cheapest.
No, I don't know.
They were one, that was one of the people.
It was one of the cheaper ones. I mean, you could go cheap. We could have went with if you want to go cheap, we could have got a board out there with a light on it that shined on it that said "Welcome to Bondwell." But I think that the money that the business park and the plan commission agreed, paid for the property, and we gained money from that, from selling the property, to give them a chance to advertise. So that way, because we had people asking, well, can I advertise on the road? Well, you can't do off-premise advertising as a whole. But now that it's a Village of Bondwell sign, off-premise advertising, that isn't the mainstay of the sign. So we eliminated a couple questions that we had from businesses in the business park, asking to put a sign up on Highway 117, Cecil Street. We got a good-looking sign for the village that welcomes everybody in, and an opportunity to advertise. So I think the board and the plan commission made the right decision in putting it up.
Okay, we'll move into closed session. Move to closed session to discuss possible business development.